too short. I'm left out. Can you see me?
Would you rather sit up here?
No,
Okay.
it's okay. Oh, you're so kind. Can you all see me though? Or should I stand up? I'll between posing. Okay, it's okay. I'll be the short one. You see me better? All right. You still freaking out the mic? It's a complicated. I think, yeah. I think there's a story there. You got it? No. You have a great voice. I think they can hear you. Okay, so thank you for coming out. This is a great turnout. I'm super excited to be here. Are you happy to be here? Was it good? Yeah, we made it.
You did this.
Thank you for your time and for listening. This is just a moment for us to connect with the artists. Sometimes when you go to these spoken word events, you don't get the time or the moment to actually talk to the artists after their performance. So we put this in there so that they get to hear your voice. They get to hear your story, why you chose to do the piece that you did today, and what is the message, right? So it can empower, as Eleanor said, empower each other as we move forward, especially this being the last day of Black History Month. So we're gonna just begin because we have just 15 minutes. And I can yap and yap and yap, so. Okay. So the first question, I'm just gonna throw it out there because I know you're all vocal and you can jump in. The first question is, why did you choose to do the piece that you did?
I can start it off. The recycle one that I had mentioned, that was just me scrambling to find extra time, but I did want to pay testament to Black women because if it wasn't for Black women, I would have known absolutely nothing about my hair. Like, I grew up absent father, the whole mixed kid trope, so I don't really have a lot of connection to my culture, my heritage. And in high school, when I was in grade 9, this grade 11 just took me under her wing. She's like, "Who did your hair?" I was like, "Me?" I did. She's like, no, come here. And then she would do my hair for nothing more than a coffee. And we would be up for hours. I think I remember leaving her house at 1 in the morning. One time when she did box braids, but she really just kind of made me realize that I am seen and I don't have to kind of just mold myself for white people or be what they want me to be or have my hair the way they want it to be and to actually just know about myself. So I wanted to pay testament in that sense. And for the other ones, I'm very politically driven. And I'm very much a decentralist. You cannot fix a broken system. You have to take it apart. And I will die on that hill as I stand on it right now. So, yeah.
All right. That's amazing, Shayla. I love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Matthew, it looks like you want to talk. You were
Does
looking
it?
at me.
I mean, sure. I can answer the question. I feel like as I said before, stand on the backs of so many incredible Black poets and artists. And today I really wanted to pay tribute to that and pay tribute to them because their influence is not in the least lost on me.
And I think that's very important for us to acknowledge who we are, our heritage. And I think that connects back to what you did today. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
I got to talk in front of the mic. I would imagine you're giving it to me now. That's a good transition. So to answer the question, I think for me, there's two questions that I truly believe every single person who has ever been born is trying to answer in their life. The first one is who you are. The second one is why you are. So for me, when it comes to thinking about those questions, there's always some sort of intrinsic way that you can connect that back. So there's a saying that I always say, it's most people know what, some people know how, almost no one knows why, but very little people know who. So essentially what that means is when it comes to knowing what you want to do with your life, that kind of comes easy. When it comes to knowing how you want to do it, you go to school, you go to work, you do all these things. You want to be a vet, you go to school to do that, right? Most people know what, some people know how. But then when you really break it down and ask someone, why do you want to be a vet? Some people struggle with that, right? And then at the very core of that, it's what is the identity that you want to give when you are being a vet, or that's essentially what it is. So these two questions for me, I found through all of my speeches have been the ones that hit home for a lot of people. It's the questions that we avoid the most. So I love taking that and throwing it in people's faces. Sorry. So that's why I chose that speech. It's one of my most favorite to perform.
And it was very memorable because when you asked the question, who are you? The first thing that came into my mind is, I'm Michelle. I didn't think deep enough.
Automatic.
Yeah, so
Automatic.
thank you. Next time I think I'll say something deeper. I have to think about it though. Not gonna put myself on the spot. Moving on, Melissa.
Hello? All right. Yeah, so when I was invited to be part of this event, I felt a huge pressure, and I still do, because I wanted to choose things that would honor Black communities, Black history, all of the beauty and the artistry that I, and not just me, but many non-Black people have benefited from and have been formed by. So the pieces I chose, I wanted to showcase as much as I could from my own experience, the strength, the beauty, the solidarity that I see and that I've experienced myself with Black communities. And then the last piece, it really just started as a small piece, but there was just so many things I wanted to say about R&B and hip hop, and so many ways I wanted to say thank you to all of that. It just became the mixtape.
Amazing, amazing. So we're gonna jump into the next question, which is, how do you think spoken word can impact and change the lives of people within marginalized communities? What is the power that we have as spoken word artists?
Should we go in the same order?
Yeah, we could. Ooh, okay, but I'm trying to think of not like a long-winded existential answer. How I view language, specifically the English language, is that it's my limit. Language is everyone's limit, no matter what language it is, but specifically as a Black person, the English language is my limit. There's a poem, oh man, shout out to this class, Canadian Literature, second year. It was by Norbese Phillips, and it was I think it's the logic, the discourse on the history of the discourse in language. I'm blank on the title, there's a lot on there, but she kind of speaks on how English is a foreign anguish. Because you are constantly, as a Black person, trying to speak through a language that was meant to silence you, to shame you, to erase you. So taking that back and making it your own, I think has got to be the most powerful thing that anyone can experience, especially in an art form. Like, you're not just speaking, you're performing, you are being exactly what you need to be in that moment for yourself and for other people. So, yeah.
That is so deep. I never thought of it that way, but I do connect with that. Whenever I'm performing, there's an outlet. It's like I'm supposed to be here kind of feeling. And I think you did mention that you're very comfortable on the stage, like that's your home.
I absolutely love it. And it's funny too, the very first speech I ever gave, it was in high school. I talked about it in the speech. Let's talk about environmental change, did a social justice major, climate action, all that stuff. And I was shaking, literally shaking in my boots, funniest thing in the world. But amidst that nervousness, it just still felt as home to me. But again, I won't give a long-winded answer, but I'll answer your question pretty briefly. To me, I think when it comes to using spoken word, I think what you're mentioning is here, there's like the power of words. All words are dangerous, but they can also build. So when it comes to using words either to your advantage or to the mishap of whoever you use your words against, words can build you up as an individual. So when it comes to marginalized communities, it's a myriad of emotions and things that are going on. People are having their own sort of identity crisis. They're trying to find their place and maybe a land that's not theirs. All these sort of questions that come in your mind. and there's probably just like a slew of words. So for me, when it comes to using spoken word, I try to take a different spin on it, and I try to just have a speech from the back. They're like, "What are you doing? Why?" And then I'm like, "Please, just give me the chance. It makes sense." But it is funny. I love starting it that way too.
Okay, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, I had to remind myself of the question. But yeah, I think poetry for me is like, it's all about language, which is about putting words to our shared experience. And I mean, I think there's huge, massive power to that. We walk through life every single day, experiencing what we experience and feel what we feel. But I think sometimes it's when you find the right word and you put that word on a page that it resonates so much more, and you're able to look back at that and you're able to do something with it. You're able to say, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I've been through and where can I go from here, rather than blindly kind of like going through life, which I feel like is a common thing that we all do. And I want to say like a second thing for me as well, is that poetry is all about community building. Like if I think about way back when, you know how bards used to go out in the towns and do their poems and people would like come by and watch. And even in Jamaica, we have a kind of storytelling that originated in Africa that's all about the person saying the poem says a word and then the audience repeats a word, and it's very conversational. And even this, look at this, like we're all poets and we came here to perform and you all came to listen and to hear. And so poetry for me also is all about community, and it's about, there's something special in the ways that language unites people. And I think it speaks to us in a very powerful and unique way that allows us to relate, and that allows us to see life with a new perspective. And I think that's really, really powerful.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. And Melissa, away.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. I think the power of language is, world-changing when we capture it properly. I think also, in terms of poetry, in terms of music, in terms of art, art speaks to our hearts instead of our brains. I say this to my students all the time. Another hat I have is a professor, and a poem can say more and can communicate more than any academic dissertation in just a few moments, because it speaks to our hearts and because it speaks to feelings rather than facts. And so I think with poetry, because we can harness those feelings, we can harness that conversation with the heart, we are able to empower those stories, those experiences in a way that doesn't come across in other kind of written forms.
I love what you said there. That's so powerful, that words, poetry speak to the heart. Because when we think about poetry, the first thing that comes into, at least my head, is Shakespearean poetry. And it's like Tao art, and like, oh my God, this is so boring. Even me, as someone who's really interested in poems, I don't like that. It's so boring. I mean, sorry to those who actually love it. Shout out to you, that's great. Keep reading it. I'm very sorry. But honestly, what I love about spoken word is the fact that it's just simple words put together, everyday language put together, and we are performing it. So we can tell a story so that it impacts your life and empower you and lifts you up. And sometimes even make you sad, and maybe make you dream a little bit. So it's so powerful. I love it. So some of us probably are aspiring poets, and they're looking at you like, wow, I can do that. So what do you have to say to I'll start with Melissa this time. What do you have to say? I put you on the spot, I'm so sorry. What do you have to say to those aspiring poets?
Oh, that's a big question. I'll try and give a short answer. I'd say, kind of building off what's already been said, is that the writing community is a community. And so, we, as writers, as poets, as novelists, whatever you might be doing, you may write in isolation, but it's really when you share and when you have that community behind you where your writing comes to life. So don't be afraid of that. The first time can be very scary, coming in and sharing, but even if you're just sharing with your friends and getting that experience of hearing your voice say your words is a pretty big step towards being able to stand up and stand by your words as well.
Amazing. Is there anything? Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple words of advice. I think like the big overall one is to really recognize that your voice can make waves. And even though you can be stuck in your own head and you can be thinking, who's going to listen to my poetry? I thought that, and you all came to listen to me. So, like, I say that to say that we all have something special and important to be saying. And once you recognize that and you own that, that's the biggest first step. And then some more like tidbits of things that like have always helped me as well is like researching your poem. That's a really big thing. Read your poem out loud, even if you don't plan on performing it, because poetry is very sonic. And sometimes when you read it in your head, it sounds one way, and then you say it out loud, and you're like, I hate that. So read it aloud. And my third one is to actually start a word bank. I know for me, I come across words all the time, and I'm like, I love that. It's elegant, it's beautiful, and I literally never remember it ever again. So please, like in your notes app, anywhere that's convenient, start a word bank, write all of those words down. That way you have a resource to get back to and to use and to dig into anytime you're feeling stuck.
And one word can actually inspire a whole load of other poems. Just one word. That's such a good point. Okay, Shay.
I know, shout out Matthew, because the last performance I had before this, like about a week and a half ago now, I sent him a copy prior. I was like, I need you to read this, man. Like, I need you to read this. Like, I'm so scared. I think every single time I've performed, I've been nerve-sighted. That's the word I've used. You can put that in your word bank if you want. It's not real, but yeah. My advice, vulnerability is strength. To actually understand that, because there's not a single time that I have not shared any poem, whether I've said it out loud or written it out, that I'm not aware that I'm putting myself in the line every single time. Like, it's a piece of me, and I think the best part is that once it's outside of me, it's no longer actually mine. You can interpret it the way you want it to, and that's completely fine. I think that's my favorite part. It's the communal part that you were both talking about. It's not just in the person writing, it's the fact the art itself is community. You are here to listen, you're here to read it, and like if you were to perform or to write anything down, just keep it in mind that you aren't alone, and everything that you are and that you've ever learned, you found that in people, experiences, in going to bed, waking up, eating of a good food that you like you are the embodiment of everything that you want it to be, I guess.
Hello? Okay. And I think that's a good point, because I think when I started, I was scared. Like, I was
Still
scared to be
scared.
vulnerable. You know, what if I make a mistake? What if I stumble on the way? But to be a poet, you don't have to be perfect. Actually, that's part of the art. You know, you can swing it around and go like, it's dramatic. You know, for dramatic effects. But anyway, talking about dramatic.
It's the voice, man. Like, it was the, oh.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not doing it on purpose. The cold air, it does not do good for my throat. And it was been warm recently, and like today was super cold. So
No, it was sultry.
It really
I
is just
enjoyed
not.
it. It was
It's
great.
really just not me. It's just the cold air. As I was saying, so a couple of years ago when I first started speaking, and I was experiencing that same sort of fear about like how do I perform, all these sort of things. Every time I got in front of a stage, people would ask me, "What are you? Are you a poet? You don't really speak like a poet. Are you a motivational speaker? Are you a public speaker? Keynote, what it is?" And honestly, I didn't really want any of those titles. I just like to talk, to be honest. So. It came to a realization actually a couple months ago where I was like, I was teaching individuals how to speak, and then I said something, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And it's every single human being is a public speaker, a professional speaker, a poet, when they're talking about something that they love. When it's something that means a lot to them, you could speak for hours. When you think about it, you're in front of a class, you're giving a presentation that you don't really care too much about. Like, oh, I don't really want to do this. You may get scared. Am I going to say, am I going to get a good mark? Am I going to do? But when you're speaking about something that you love, I promise you could be a TED Talk speaker. Every single time, regardless. If you love baseball, if you love soccer, if you love music, if you love anything. So for me, my advice is start with something that you love. That's it. If you love Kevin Hart, speak about Kevin Hart for an hour. I was listening to Kevin Hart this morning. But just find what it is that you love, regardless of what it is, and write about that, speak about that, and I promise you, an audience will form around what you love. That's my advice.
Isn't that amazing? Come on, guys. A round of applause. That was so cool. I've learned so much today. Unfortunately, we have to end it here. I know you want to stay here forever. Me too. I would love to listen to all of you over and over again, but it's close to 7:30, so I'm just gonna give the closing remark. And actually, the event.
Can I be selfish for a second? This is a wonderful event, and I just wanted to give you your credit. You have pulled everyone here together in a manner that has not been done before. So I wanted everyone to just give two things, actually. Can everyone just give Michelle here a
huge round of applause?
Huge. You did a great job.
You had to be there for the Zoom calls.
You really did.
Yeah.
And I'm a big man of memory, so I think if we can just take a picture with you in front of everyone, I think it'd be great for you. You deserve it. Yeah. You deserve it. So
let's do it.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and you stand there, and then we'll just. Of course.
Oh, don't mind being late a little bit, but I promised I was about to close this off.
I'll be quick. This is your event. It's all you. Beautiful. And I think my friend here wants to take an official professional photo of you.
Yeah,
Can close this. I got a permission. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the applause. Thank you for the share. Thank you for making time to come here. This was a free event. It was intentional because we wanted you to hear these amazing voices so that you're inspired, so you go out there and really make a change. But the event does not end here, you see. We're actually having a little after party. It's not really after party. We're going to Bergen to actually have some drinks and food to end the day. So if you're interested, please talk to our welcome volunteer outside. And you can just register your name because it's quite a limited seats. You get the chance to meet all these amazing people if they're coming. Hopefully they are. Yes, they are. And then you also get to meet all the organizers. I'm not the only organizer here. Misha helped, David, Shay right there helped, and to Gina, who is traveling and wasn't able to make it here. And of course, Andrew, who provided amazing photography and videography services. And of course, Lisa, thank you. Jordan, thank you. These are amazing people that really encouraged us and made this possible. So thank you again for coming out. Thank you.